Chapter 9. Loki and his offspring. There is yet one who is numbered among the Asas, but whom some call the backbiter of the Asas. He is the originator or deceit and the disgrace of all the gods and men. His name is Loki or Lot. His father is the giant Varbauti, but his mother's name is Laufey or Null. His brothers are Beleist and Helblinde. Loki is fair and beautiful of face, but evil in disposition, and very fickle-minded. He surpasses other men in the craft called cunning and cheats in all things. He has often brought the Asas into great trouble, and often helped them out again with his cunning contrivances. His wife hides Sigyn, and their son Nare or Narfi. Loki had yet more children. A giantess in Jotunheim hight Angerboda. With her he begat 3 children. Hey. The first was the Fenris wolf, the second Jormungand, that is the Midgard serpent, and the third Hel. When the gods knew that these 3 children were being fostered in Jotunheim, and were aware of the prophecies that much woe and misfortune would thence come to them, and considering that much evil might be looked for from them on their mother's side, and still more on their father's, all father sent some of the gods to take the children and bring them to him. When they came to him, he threw the serpent into the deep sea which surrounds all lands. There waxed the serpent so that he lies in the midst of the ocean, surrounds all the earth, and bites its own tail. Hel he cast into Niflheim, and gave her power over 9 worlds, that she should appoint abodes to them that are sent to her, namely those who die from sickness or old age. She has there a great mansion, and the walls around it are of strange height, and the gates are huge. Eljutner is the name of her howl. Her table hides famine, her knife starvation. Her manservant's name is Ganglate, her maidservant's Ganglot. Her threshold is called Stumbling Block, her bed Keer. The precious hangings of her bed gleaming veil. On one half of her is blue, and the other half is of the hue of flesh. Hence she is easily known. Her looks are very stern and grim. The wolf was fostered by the Asas at home, and Tyr was the only one who had the courage to go to him and give him food. When the gods saw how much he grew every day, and all the prophecies declared that he was predestined to become fatal to them, they resolved to make a very strong fetter, which they called lading. They brought it to the wolf, and bade him try his strength on the fetter. The wolf, who did not think it would be too strong for him, let them do therewith as they pleased. But as soon as he spurned against it, the fetter burst asunder, and he was free from lading. Then the Asas made another fetter, by 1/2 stronger, and this they called drome. They wanted the wolf to try this also, saying to him that he would become very famous for his strength if so strong a chain was not able to hold him. The wolf thought that this fetter was indeed very strong, but also that his strength had increased since he broke lading. He also took into consideration that it was necessary to expose oneself to some danger if he desired to become famous, so he let them put the fetter on him. When the Asas said they were ready, the wolf shook himself, spurned against, and dashed the fetter on the ground, so that the broken pieces flew a long distance. Thus he broke loose out of Drome. Since then, it has been held as a proverb to get loose out of lading, or to dash out of Drome, whenever anything extraordinary hard. The Asas now began to fear that they would not get the wolf bound, so Allfather sent a youth who is called Skirnir and is Frey's messenger to some dwarfs in Svartalfheim, and had them make a fetter which is called Gleipnir. It was made of 6 things: of the footfall of cats, the beard of women, of the roots of the mountain, of the sinews of the bear, of the breath of the fish, and of the spittle of the birds. If you have not known this before, you can easily find out that it is true, and there is no lie about it, since you must have observed that a woman has no beard, that cat's footfall cannot be heard, and that mountains have no roots, and I know forsooth that what I have told you is perfectly true, although there are some things that you do not understand. Then, said Gangleri, this I must surely understand to be true. I can see these things which you have taken as proof. But how was the fetter smithy? Answered Har. That I can well explain to you. It was smooth and soft as a silken string. How strong and thrusty it was, you shall now hear. When the fetter was brought to the Asas, they thanked the messenger for doing his errand so well. Then they went out into the lake called Amsvartner, to the home rocky island where called Lingve, and called the wolves to go with them. They showed him the silken band and bade him break it, saying that it was somewhat stronger than its thinness would lead one to suppose. Then they handed it from one to the other and tried its strength with their hands, but it did not break. Still, they said, the wolf should be able to snap it. The wolf answered, it seems to me that I will get no fame, though I break asunder so slender a thread as this is. But if it is made with craft and guile, then, little though it may look, that band will never come on my feet. Then said the Asas that he would easily be able to break a slim silken band, since he had already burst large iron fetters asunder. But even if you are unable to break this band, you have nothing to fear from the gods, for we will immediately loose you again. The wolf answered, if you get me bound so fast that I am not able to loose myself again, you will skulk away, and it will be long before I get any help from you. Wherefore I am loth to let this band be laid on me. But in order that you may not accuse me of cowardice, let someone of you lay this hand in my mouth as a pledge that this is done without deceit. The one Asa looked at the other and thought there now was a choice of 2 evils, and no one would offer his hand. Before Tir held out his right hand and laid it in the wolf's mouth. But when the wolf now began to spurn against it, the band grew stiffer, and the more he strained, the tighter it got. They all laughed, except Tir. He lost his hand. When the Asa saw that the wolf was sufficiently well bound, they took the chain which was fixed to the fetter, and which was called Galgia, and drew it through a large rock which is called Giol, and fastened this rock deep down in the earth. Then they took a large stone which is called Tvite, and drove it still deeper into the ground, and used this stone for a fastening pin. The wolf opened his mouth terribly wide, raged and twisted himself with all his might, and wanted to bite them. But they put a sword in his mouth in such a manner that the hilt stood in his lower jaw and the point in the upper, that is his gag. He howls terribly, and the saliva which runs from his mouth comes a river called Von. There he will lie until Ragnarok. Then said Gangleri, very bad are these children of Loki, but they are strong and mighty. But why did not the Asas kill the wolf when they have evil to expect from him? Ha answered, so great respect have the gods for their holiness and peace that they would not stain them with the blood of the wolf, though prophecies foretell that he must become the bane of Odin. Chapter 10. The Goddesses, the Asynias. Gangleri asked, which are the goddesses? Har answered, Frigg is the first. She possesses the right lordly dwelling which is called Fensaler. The second is Saga, who dwells in Sokvabek, and this is a large dwelling. The third is Eir, who is the best leech. The fourth is Gefyun, who is a May, and those who die maids become her handmaidens. The fifth is Fula, who is also a May. She wears her hair flowing and has a golden ribbon about her head. She carries Frigg's chest, takes care of her shoes, and knows her secrets. The sixth is Freya, who is ranked with Frigg. She is wedded to the man whose name is Oder. Her daughter's name is Hnoss, and she is so fair that all things fair and precious are called from her name, Hnoss. Oder went far away. Freya weeps for him, but her tears are red gold. Freya has many names, and the reason therefore is that she changed her name among the various nations to which she came in search of Oder. She is called Mardol, Horn, Geffen, and Sir. She has the necklace of Brising, and she is called the Vanadis. The seventh is Schoffen, who is fond of turning men's and women's heart to love, and is from her name that love is called Shafne. The eighth is Loffen, who is kind and good to those who call upon her, and she has a permission from the Allfather or Frigg to bring together men and women, no matter what difficulties may stand in the way. Therefore love is so called from her name, and also that which is much loved by men. The ninth is Var. She hears the oaths and threats that men and women plight to each other, hence such vows are called Vars. And she takes vengeance on those who break their promises. The tenth is Vor, who is so wise and searching that nothing can be concealed from her. It is a saying that a woman becomes a Vor, Weer, of what she becomes wise. The 11th is Sin, who guards the door of the hall and closes it against those who are not to enter. In trials she guards those suits in which anyone tries to make use of falsehood. Hence is the saying that sin is set against it, when anyone tries to deny aught. The 12th is Hlin, who guards those men whom Frigg wants to protect from any danger. Hence is the saying that he lins who is forewarned. The 13th is Snotra, who is wise and courtly. After her, men and women who are wise are called Snotras. The 14th is called Gna, whom Frigg sends on her errands into various worlds. She rides upon a horse called Hofrapner, that turns through the air and over the sea. Once, when she was riding, some Ivans saw her faring through the air. Then said one of them, "What flies there? What fares there? What glides in the air?" She answered, "I fly not, though I fare, and glide through the air, on Hofwapner, that Hamskerper begat with Gartrover." From Gna's name, it is said that anything that fares high in the air gnas. Sol and Bil are numbered among the goddesses, but their nature has already been described. There are still others who are able to serve in Valhall, bear the drinking around, wait upon the table, and pass the ale horns. Thus they are named in Grimnir's lay. Rist and Mist, I want my horn to bring to me. Skeggold and Skogul, Hild and Thrud, Hlok and Heifjoter, Grol and Geirahod, Rangrid and Radgrid, and Regenleif. These bear ale to the Einherjers. These are the Valkyries. Odin sends them to all battles which they choose those who are to be slain and rule over the victory. Gud and Rosta and the youngest Norn Skald always ride to sway the battle and choose the slain. Jord, the mother of Thor, and Rind, Vala's mother, are numbered among the goddesses. Chapter 11. The giantess Gerd and Skirnir's journey. Gymer hired a man whose wife was Orboda of the race of the mountain giants. Their daughter was Gert, the fairest of all women. One day, when Frey had gone into Lidskjalf and was looking out upon all the worlds, he saw towards the north a hamlet wherein was a large and beautiful house. To this house went a woman, and when she raised her hands to open the door, both the sky and the sea glistened therefrom, and she made all the world bright. As a punishment for his audacity in seating himself in that holy seat, Frey went away full of grief. When he came home, he neither spake, slept, nor drank, and no one dared to speak to him. Then Njord sent for Skirnir, Frey's servant, bade him to go to Frey and ask him with whom he was so angry, since he would speak to nobody. Skirnir said that he would go, though he was loth to do so, as it was probably that he would get evil words in reply. Then he came to Frey and asked him why he was so sad that he would not talk. Frey answered that he had seen a beautiful woman, and for her sake he had become so filled with grief that he could not live any longer if he could not get her. And now you must go, he added, and ask her hand for me, and bring her home to me, whether it be with or without the consent of her father. I will reward you well for your trouble. Skirnir answered, saying that he would go on this errand, but Frey must give him his sword, that was so excellent that it wielded itself in fight. Frey made no objection to this, and gave him the sword. Skirnir went on his journey, courted Gerd for him, and got the promise of her that she 9 nights thereafter should become the Bar Isle, and there have the wedding with Frey. When Skirnir came back and gave an account of his journey, Frey said, Long is one night, long are 2 nights. How can I hold out 3? Oft to me 1 month seems less than this half night of love. This is the reason why Frey was unarmed when he fought with Bele and slew him with a hartshorn. Then said Gangleri, It is a great wonder that such a lord as Frey would give away his sword when he did not have another as good. A great loss it was to him when he fought with Bele, and this I know forsooth, that he must have repented of that gift. Har answered, Of no great account was this meeting with Bele. Frey could have slain him with his hand, but the time will come when he will find himself in a worse plight for not having his sword, and that will be when the sons of Muspel sally forth to the fight. Chapter 12. Life in Valhalla. Then said Gangleri, You say that all men who since the beginning of the world have fallen in battle have come to Odin in Valhalla. What does he have to give them to eat? It seems to me there must be a great throng of people. Ah, answered, It is true, as you remark, that there is a great throng. Many more are yet to come there, and still they will be thought too few when the wolf comes. But however may be the throng in Valhalla, they will get plenty of flesh of the boar Sarimner. He is boiled every day and is whole again in the evening. But as to the question you just asked, it seems to me there are but few men so wise that they are able to answer it correctly. The cook's name is Andrimner, and the kettle is called Eldrimner, and there is said, Andrimner cooks and Eldrimner Sarimner. 'Tis the best of flesh. There are few who know what the Einherjars eat. Gangleri asks, Does Odin have the same kind of food as the Einherjars? Har answered, The food that is placed on his table he gives to his 2 wolves, which hide Geri and Freki. He needs no food himself. Wine is to him both food and drink. As there is said, Geri and Freki, sage the warfaring, famous father of hosts, but on wine alone, Odin in arms renowned, forever lives. 2 ravens sit on Odin's shoulder and bring him to his ears all that they hear and see. Their names are Hugin and Munin. At dawn, he sends them out to fly over the whole world, and they come back at breakfast time. Thus he gets information about many things, and hence he is called Rafnagr, raven god. As it is said, Hugin and Munin fly every day over the great earth. I fear for Hugin that he may not return, yet more I am anxious for Munin. Then asked Gangleri, what do the Einherjers have to drink that is furnished them as bountifully as food? Or do they drink water? I answered, that is a wonderful question. Do you suppose that Allfather invites kings, jarls, or other great men and gives them water to drink? This I know forsooth, that many a one comes to Valhall who would think he was paying a big price for his water drink if there were no better reception to be found there. Persons, namely, who have died from wounds and pain. But I can tell you other tidings. A she-goat by the name Heidrun stands up in Valhall and bites the leaves of the branches of that famous tree called Lerad. From her teeth runs so much mead that she fills every day a vessel in the hall from which the horns are filled, and which is so large that the Einherjers get all the drink they want out of it. Then said Gangleri, what is the most useful goat and the right excellent tree that must be that she feeds upon? Then said Har, still more remarkable is the hard Eikthirnir, which stands over Valhall and bites the branches of the same tree. From his horns fall so many drops into Vergelmir that thence flow the rivers that are called the Sitvit, Sekin, Ekin, Sevol, Guntro, Fjorm, Fimbultul, Gipul, Gopul, Gomul, and Geirvimul, all of which fall about the boats of the Asas. The following are also named Thin, Vin, Tol, Bol, Grat, Guntrein, Nit, Not, Non, Ron, Vina, Vexvin, and Tjotsnuma. Then said Gangleri, that was a wonderful tiding that you now told me. A mighty house must Valhall be, and a great crowd there must often be at the door. Then answered her, why do you not ask how many doors there are in Valhall, and how large they are? When you find that out, you will confess that it would rather be wonderful if everybody could not easily go in and out. It is also a fact that it is no more difficult to find a room within than to get in. Of this you may hear what the Lay of Grimnir says. 500 doors and 40 more I trow there are in Valhall. 800 Einherjars go at a time through one door, when they fear to fight with the wolf. Then said Gangleri, a mighty band of men there is in Valhall, and forsooth I know that Odin is a very great chief, since he commands so mighty a host. But what is the pastime of the Einherjars when they do not drink? Har answered, every morning when they have dressed themselves, they take their weapons and go out into the court and fight and slay each other. That is their pay. Toward breakfast time they ride home to Valhall and sit down to drink, as it is here said. All the Einherjars in Odin's court hew daily each other. They choose the slain and ride from the battlefield, and then they sit in peace together. But true it is, as you said, that Odin is a great chief. There are many proofs of that. Thus it is said in the very words of the Asas themselves, the Yggdrasil ash in the foremost of trees, but Skidbladnir of ships, Odin of Asas, Sleipnir of steeds, Bifrost of bridges, Brage of skulls, Harbrock of house, but Garm of dogs. And for that we're going to stop now.